Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the channel. AMC had a big week. I mean, very dramatic. It's the type of thing that I've been, kind of looking for. It was kind of a meme for a while. Me saying, oh, we need a dramatic push down. And it looks like with this week, we may have achieved dramatic push down status. I got to be honest with you. I don't know if I could have expected that it would have been quite this dramatic. But especially, we have pretty much a bullish tail candle that occurred here on the weekly. We also I know a lot of people now are looking at the pre-January run fractal, and it's just something to be seen that we actually had the same sort of candle in January before that run up. Obviously the past cannot predict the future. It's not that simple for me, at least. I that's not how I see the world. I see the world through the lens of composite man, and I would even say that might be a narrative that he might want us to be thinking about, so that he could do something to make us feel more pain. But I will say that overall, I do feel optimistic on the course of the midterm. Okay, so over the course of the next few weeks to few months, I do think that this week will be significant. The amount of volume that we saw come in was certainly impressive. And to be honest with you, it was something that I would have said that we needed, but almost wouldn't have even believed myself in saying that that it was even possible. It was getting to that level with the volume where it's like, oh man, are we ever going to kick it into gear here, right? And you saw that AMC was one of the most traded stocks this week. So, you have to understand that where we stand right now is, a pretty good spot. We're in a pretty good spot here on AMC, in my opinion, over the course of the next few weeks to months. All right. So with that being said, the things that I'm looking for, and you can't really see it too well here, but I drew these trend lines to the top and the bottom. It's been a while since I did that, but let me put us into after hours and pre-market. You can see here that we have this trend line of resistance here that I have drawn from here. It was previously support back in February of 2020 before the big COVID drop-off. And then also this support trend that is potentially developing here. So obviously we've talked about this a lot in the past. A trend is not a trend until it's a confirmed trend, right? And some of what we have to do if we're going to try and see a trend confirm itself is we have to speculate that it will. But I will say that based on Fibonacci, I am relatively optimistic. So let me pull here. And let me put this on log. I don't think I'm on log with this. Yep. So pulling here from log, and I'm sorry, I'm pulling from the buy button. You will see here that this was actually the 0.5 Fibonacci that we bounced off of here. And then also, if we take the Fibonacci off of log scale, but we are in a log chart, this also is relevant. This is actually the local 786 almost that we bounced off of here, so $19.89. So I do have pretty good reason to believe these are key Fibonacci levels that were held up here. I know that previously we've talked about the possibility. Let me do that right quick. The possibility of not reversed. The log scale 618, which is $14.47. I personally am not here to say that sub 20 AMC is not off of the table yet. I do not think that it's completely off of the table. There are a few things that have to happen. What I will say is that for me to basically say, oh, that's not going to happen, I will say that I'm probably over 80% sure that we won't see sub 20 AMC, in my opinion. Not sub 20. Let's say I don't think that we'll see the 1450, at least 80%, okay? I'm at least 80% sure of that. Sub 20, I'd probably put myself in, I'd say that I'm 60% sure that we're not going to see the sub 20 AMC, okay? So let's talk about the scenarios that I'm potentially seeing here. I drew some support and resistance zones here, and these are just historic. So I found like the key times when AMC has been really rejected, for example. So you see this bottom trend line here. You got boom, 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 4 rejections here, and then it got an initial rejection after the buy button collapse, but you can see it ultimately held its support here. And then this created like a support block, a zone. And then you see the same things up here, right? So this one here, and again, we're including after hours in this, but you can see that where we bounced right here at this $20 level obviously is a historical relevant level, right? Because if we take after hours off, that's where we got stopped in regular trading hours, at $20, just above $20. And then now if you include extended hours, this is exactly where we found support. I mean, it's almost to a dime where we got stopped in regular hours. And then you can see the extended hours top in January, $25.88, is the top of this trading block. You can see that this was a zone, right? The price tried to go under here back in the June run at the end of May. Bears got rejected here. The price got sent back up. And then currently, you can see here, bulls were rejecting bears back here in early December before eventually getting sent down. And then bulls got rejected here December 15th before ultimately breaking through. And now we're back in this upper trading block, right? We're back in the trading block that we were in before, that was holding us as support for months. I mean, this was the $28.83 to $34 range, right? We sat above there forever. And so now we're actually sitting just above this line. If you look at it, I mean, we are literally sitting right above it, right? So what is my perspective in the near term? What do I think overall? I see this, okay? For the record, I see this move down here. As of right now, my conviction is that this was a terminal shakeout spring event that is ultimately going to be the bottom for AMC. That is what I am most sure of. That is what I think is most likely, okay? That doesn't mean that with 100% certainty I'm saying that by any means, okay? Because obviously nothing is 100% certain. But I'm pretty optimistic here, guys. Like, I feel good about this. Now, what do I see happening going into tomorrow, right? What happens on Monday, from my perspective? And I know there's a lot of cycle theory out there, okay? Like, trust me, like, I'm in a group text with Rico and Colin, Square Root of 9, Esther Nafil, and John Ross. He doesn't really participate too much, but and those guys are convinced, well, Colin and Rico at least, are very convinced that we are pretty much in the middle of January, okay? That's what they believe, January 2021. And they are very convinced about the coming, 2 weeks being a large rally in AMC. And obviously, go check out those guys' platforms for more understanding on that. I'd say that me and Esther are probably more reserved in our near-term expectations, and we're trying to look at it less from a cycle perspective and more from a technical perspective. That would be my summary of what's going on in that group text on a day-to-day. We're really trying to figure it out, though, guys. Like, we're spending a lot of time on this. So my perspective on this most recent move here, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys are familiar with with what we talk about on the channel most of the time, which is Wyckoff, right? To me, this clearly looks like an accumulation based on the volume. This does look like a sign of strength, but the reason that you can't say with 100% certainty yet that this move here with this high volume is a sign of strength, in my opinion, is because volume is relative. And in Wyckoff, something that you can see happen is, we think this is a lot of volume, right? So let me draw out what those situations would be, right? If this is a sign of strength, which is basically where you break the local trading range, okay? with high volume, and I'll show you why it's tricky. This almost looks like an angular type of accumulation schematic. If we were to draw it, we would draw it probably something like this. Okay. That would be your resistance line, and then we would probably draw this as like your support line. So this being a sign of strength, and then this being like a backup LPS phase, last point of support. I don't fully mind, right? Like I'm not here to, so maybe this would be a sell test in phase B. This would be a selling climax, which is like your high volume sell off. I mean, you can see here that, and again, this is pre-market hours. So, I don't know if they did that on purpose or whatever, but this is pre-market hours, no volume. And then all of a sudden, boom, you just shoot off like a rocket here. This was a phase B distribution. Boom. This would act as almost like a spring phase here in the pre-market before we lifted off on Friday, right? The thing about it is, and getting back to what I was talking about is, yes, in the local trading range, yes, perhaps this is the full thing, right? But what you could see is that this ends up being a phase B distribution, okay? This is what this is kind of what I'm leaning towards. This is like my like local conviction, like what I think is most likely, is that you pull a Fibonacci from here, and let me make sure that this is on log. Yeah, it's on log. You pull a Fibonacci from here, and you say, okay, actually, maybe we want to do it from the spring. Let me see. Yeah. So what I think is most likely is that this actually behaves up here as a shorter term distribution. Okay. And remember these levels, right? This $26 kind of region. What I think is going to end up happening is that this is going to break down here. We're going to come to that $26, that key Fibonacci level. Maybe we even, going into Tuesday, see a break below this angular trading range down into this 25.50 for like a spring sort of phase. Boom, before our ultimate reversal for the sign of strength. Okay, and then that's when we really get some volume, some juice going. And then we have our move up into the mid 30s. Remember, in the video where I was 100% wrong. I talked about this, but on Thursday, my conviction was that going into Friday that we were going to see a big move down. We were going to go sub 20, and that was going to be the ultimate bottom for us. I was 100% wrong on that, right? But I did give an alternative scenario where we would just take off, but I wouldn't be convinced that we were just going to go full banana mode, unless we broke above this $34 region, right? We break above this $34 with a lot of volume. We continue to see that increasing volume. And that's why I say in the Wyckoff trading range, the volume is relative, right? So this would actually become your spring in this scenario. Maybe it would even extend a little bit lower down to $24. And you get that higher relative volume, and then we thought that this was a lot of volume, but then the market proves, oh man, no, there's more, right? Oh man, we couldn't even see this volume coming. Now, if that's the scenario, if you do this, you turn around like this, get that one last dip, I think it'll happen relatively quick, down to $24, $25, and you see that volume come in from bulls. I don't know if there would be a more convincing moment for me. Like on the long side of the trade, I would be looking at it like, okay, yeah, we're absolutely about to make an aggressive move up after this amount of retracement here. The amount of pain that has been put in the game for retail bulls. And I do believe that these recent moves are institutional. Seeing that sort of volume come in at those levels in that way, and especially with the context of last week, I would be very convicted that we were going to go straight. We'll go straight up and be testing like the 50s quickly. You know, and again, like this is just my opinion. It's not financial advice, but you would blink your eyes and you'd be like, wow, like. It would be all green for a long time. which would, you know, it'd be pretty crazy. That's the sort of scenario that I could kind of see happening. And I mean, that's the sort of thing that you see back here, right? So like for that comparison's sake, back in January, you know, this is the same sort of move, right? You come up, boom. I mean, we can pull the Fibonacci here and just see. So boom, right? We come back to this 0.5 Fibonacci, have a little bit of retracement, boom. We get sent up. And I mean, this is, I mean, look, this is serious right here. Like this sort of move from, right, like let's just say here, 60% in the matter of, what is this, 5 days, right? That's the sort of thing that you would be talking about in this scenario. This volume is serious, guys. Like this is not again, AMC was one of the most traded stocks this week. This is serious volume, man, like especially at these lower levels. So what are the other scenarios that I could see playing out? Now, it is possible, and I just want to say, like, this minute chart to me, right? This part, this looks like a short-term distribution to me, okay? And so that's why I do feel like it's most likely, again, I feel like that's Composite Man trying to send you a message, okay? I think that he's trying to tell you, hey, we're going to come back down here and test this. Boom. And then find support maybe in this $25 region. I do think that that's most likely. And I could be 100% wrong. You guys saw it Friday, right? 100% wrong. But, you know, I mean, this, you know, just looking at this on the minute chart, right? I mean, this is very obvious to me that this is accumulation, right, guys? And I'm not saying that that guarantees upside in the short term. I'm just saying that I'm bullish. But I don't hate the idea of it coming down, testing like this for its backup LPS phase, finishing off the accumulation before it's move up, okay? Alternatively though, I mean, if we're really bullish, dude, I mean, I know futures are looking pretty red right now, but if we're bullish like that, man, what is this retracement like? If we just, let's do fib on this. You know, catch a 236 Fibonacci and just jump off. Look, it's totally possible. And look, I mean, I would love that. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I also wouldn't mind like one last dip down here. And you can see here, right? 618. Get me one last scoop of these, like personally what I'm doing, not financial advice. Give me one last scoop of these options and shares, man. Look, I'm very bullish. Okay, going into next week. Going into the next few weeks, I'm very confident. I think with this amount of volume, it's just hard for me to imagine a situation where this doesn't eventually lead to a big run up in the coming weeks or months, because this amount of volume, the amount of buying pressure that we saw here, these are institutions that are not going to be willing to lose. It's as simple as that, man. Like if you look at the OBV, shout out to Tyler Wilson Investing on YouTube. You know, he talks about the OBV all the time. The 4-hour OBV is just, I mean, it's going parabolic, guys. Okay? And the way that you use OBV, like the best way to use OBV, you have a full-on breakout, okay? The best way to use OBV is as a leading indicator. This is, the belief behind this indicator is, hey, price follows volume, right? And so when you see this sort of volume, right? This to me, it's just clear. It's clear that institutions are grabbing this thing, right? And they have been. They have been. Price is in this crazy downtrend, right? Very, very tough downtrend. But what is the on-balance volume doing? In the same time, at the same time, aggressively to the upside. Aggressive on-balance volume adding. I mean, to me, look, you guys have been looking for Bullish Dave. I haven't been bullish since pretty much I started the YouTube channel. Every day I come in here and say, it's a rising wedge and it's gonna, you know, but look, man, like to me, this is what you want to see. This is the reaction of I'm not taking any more, right? Bullish institutions stepping in and say, hey, you know, hope you had a good party, Bears. It's time for us to come in and do our thing. So I'm very bullish. Now, does that mean that I think it's a guarantee? No. Do not do anything crazy. Do not be irresponsible, man. Either way. And dude, another thing I saw, like, people, I saw one guy commented on my video and said, you being wrong cost me $5,000 or whatever. And I don't know what the context was. I don't know if he bought puts or if he shorted or if he exited his shares position with the intent to re-enter below 20 like I was calling for. Man, like, you got to understand that that is a greedy way to trade. Like, you have to understand that you are going to get punished in the market if you trade in a way like that. That is greedy. If you exited your share position to try and re-enter it in that way, and you weren't willing to face the music, especially because I mentioned it in that video that it's completely possible to happen, that is a greedy trading strategy. That's why I always am talking about how, look, I panic bought this big red candle here, and I got people saying, oh, there was no technical reason to do it or whatever. I was like, no way I'm missing this. I bought this $23 right here. And yeah, it dipped a little bit lower, but look at what happened afterwards, right? Because for me, I'm averaging in. I still have money on the sidelines. I'm ready for the dips, right? And I don't enter a position, I don't go all in for that reason, because I can be wrong about what I think the floor is. And if I am wrong, then I want to be ready for that too. That's the way that I treat my trading and investing. Not financial advice. You do whatever you want, right? All right. Let's talk about the potential bearish scenario, right? The more bearish scenario. And again, to me, I would be looking at this as an opportunity if it did occur, okay? I would not be out if this happened. I would not be out on the way to this happening, okay? This would be me. I would see it as a great opportunity, okay? Again, remember the context of me telling you this buying pressure, to me, is not BS. This is institutions clearly sending a signal that they are going to be turning this ship around. That's what I believe. What could be happening in the short term is that we are actually in a redistribution short term, okay? And this was all a fake out for the short term, and we're going to come down like this, and then that is how we would come to this ultimate 14-ish dollar level, okay? This 1484, okay? Again, this is that Fibonacci. Remember what we talked about in the video on Thursday, that if you measure this Fibonacci with the log scale on $5.21, you can see the buy button collapse held this as support. Granted, this would be a very, like, catastrophic type of deal. Like, I mean, this would be a big deal, guys. Like, whatever news would cause this or whatever would end up coming out, this would be catastrophic. But you know, it's been a range where we've gotten rejected before, right? But I'm telling you right now that if we saw this, and I mean, even if we saw this $10, for me, I would be like, I would see it as the ultimate opportunity. I think that it would take a little bit of time after that, but the reaction to that eventually by these bullish institutions would be absolutely insane. I mean, I would see it as such a great opportunity, personally. But I think that's the least likely thing. Of the three scenarios that I think that could possibly play out, I think that is the least likely. I would give that a 5 to 10% chance of happening as of now. I don't think it's very likely at all. I think that bulls stuck their foot in the ground this past week. They said, we've had enough. You know, we got all our shares now. We're ready to roll. That's how I see this week, 100%. So I'm excited, guys. Like, I feel good. The volume is just, to me, it's undeniable. I can't really see a situation where this volume, in this sort of move on this volume, it ends up not panning out, right? That's just how I see it. I think that's the most likely scenario, is that we have our move down Go back to that $24 to $26 range. Again, do not do anything crazy. Okay? Do not sell your position at open with the intent of buying later or something like that. Not financial advice. I guess do that if you want to. But that's not what I'm doing. My position is my position. If we freaking moon from here, we freaking moon from here. I might be buying some on the way up. But that could be another opportunity. This plays out as a phase B distribution. Just to close out here, verify. Hold on. Why am I not touching this trend line down here? I'm confused. What did I do? We have after hours on? Yeah, extended trading hours. How did this happen? Was this had to be touching during the video. There's no way. I wouldn't have started the video. Okay, anyway. And then I mean, even if you wanted to, you could make it like this where, right? Because this ended up being the real support. And then you say, okay, yeah, it rides this price right here, this price trend. Phase B distribution. Boom, boom, boom. You touch your 2450, something like that, maybe. Find last point of support. Last point of support. Have your markup. All right, look, guys, I feel like we're close, going into the next few weeks, next like month or so. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I think we're on the verge of something big here. So, without any further ado, or wait, that's what you say at the beginning, I think, but without any further details or anything like that, I'm gonna go watch a movie with the fam, and I'll be up watching this thing play out like a movie, like an AMC movie. I gotta catch up on a few of the Marvel films so that I can go see Spider-Man in theaters because everybody's talking about it. It's taking over social media and everything, like not just regular media. Like I can't get away from the damn movie. I'm trying not to see spoilers, but yeah, so that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Dave the Bull. You haven't seen Dave the Bull in a while. Bull. So maybe that's a good sign. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad sign. I don't know. Maybe it's a good sign. I don't know. All right, have a good rest of your night. Or morning if you're watching this in the morning. Peace.